Welcome, everybody, to the Wake Up Call channel. For those of you that don't know, the G7 is occurring. Another one of these meetings where they pretend on the outside that they're going to talk about these important subjects like the stuff in Israel or Ukraine. And of course, they come out and gaslight you by announcing how much more of our tax money is going to go to Ukraine. Another 50 billion, 100 billion. Just, these are things that they're doing by design, right? They don't even need to let you know where your tax money is going. Even though they do, they don't need to announce it publicly. They're doing this to gaslight people because people are having enough of struggling day in and day out to take care of themselves and their own families, let alone pour money in to countries when, of course, the tax money is supposed to go to our own country. So they're doing that by design. But the other thing you got to pay attention to over at the G7, which I thought was absolutely unbelievable. I just covered Pope Francis. If you didn't see the video, go check it out about all these comedians coming in to see Pope Francis in the Vatican to talk comedy. Of course, this is about diversity and equity to limit what people can and cannot say. There will not be comedy in a new world order. Of course, there'll be formulated comedy that isn't funny. And just like a sheeple, you'll laugh with the laugh box at things that aren't funny, which is what most people do who turn on these late night television shows. They don't even realize that none of it is funny. It's absolutely atrocious, but like sheeple, they can be led just to believe whatever the government wants them to believe. So while Pope Francis is in the middle of that, he's actually stepping out to attend the G7 summit, which you can see the photographs of all the G7 leaders there, of course, all liberal, all people who are destroying their countries, right? It looks like a giant group mugshot more than anything else. And if there was ever a place that we could use Ted Kaczynski to show up the Unabomber, well, it would have been there. But Pope Francis is showing up here. Why do you ask? You think he's showing up there to talk about religion or Christianity? Is he showing up there to preach Jesus? Of course he's not doing that. Of course he's not preaching Jesus. If anything, he'll preach about the LGBTQ. But Pope Francis is actually going there for all things to give advice on artificial intelligence. Oh, I didn't know Pope Francis had a master's or a doctorate degree in artificial intelligence. But of course, for whatever reason, and they give you the funniest reason, which I'll get into, as to why he's the one there, because apparently he was a photo of him, a deep fake of him wearing a puffy coat is the reason, this is really what the articles are saying, that's why he's there, because somebody made a deep fake of him. But we still need AI, of course, because that's what it's about. We need to accept AI, but we need to limit it and restrict certain aspects of it because they don't want you to get suspicious of what AI is in the first place, but it has to remain here. It has to remain, so we need laws in place immediately. Thus, we have to accept AI. We can't just get rid of AI, which is what we should do. So they're bringing in Pope Francis, right? And isn't it convenient it's the same time that Pope Francis wants to go and talk about AI? He's also talking about what's real and what's not real. Remember the videos I did covering the Vatican? The Vatican is going to tell us what's a supernatural event and what's not. That's interesting. So the Vatican is going to be the one that tells us if it's God communicating with us, if a sign in the sky is real or if it's fake. And if anyone out there questions it, well, you're not allowed to because the Vatican's going to tell you it's God telling us something or not. At the same time that the Vatican is telling you this, that they're going to tell you what's a spiritual event or isn't, we're also going to have Pope Francis give us advice on AI. So connect the dots there with Bluebeam, artificial intelligence, and the Vatican, all of a sudden showing its face and revealing itself to be interested in these topics, which you would think that most people go, what in the world does Pope Francis have to do with AI? Well, there's deceptions coming, that's what. So, the leaders around the world are meeting at the G7 in Italy this week. They'll be joined by a unique guest to talk about the risks posed by AI, Pope Francis. This is the first G7 summit to feature a pope as an invited participant. But it's not the first time that Pope Francis has weighed in on this emerging technology and how he believes it should be developed for the good of humanity, right? And there's the key words there. It should be developed for the good of humanity. Instead of saying, we need to, as humans, prevent this type of technology from existing. Think of the pros and the cons. Zero pros other than entertaining yourself with deepfakes and sitting on the internet and trying to make deepfakes yourself. That's the only pro, is your entertainment. Okay, anyone out there that says, oh, well, it can help with this. Oh, what? So you can call Amazon and talk to a bot for 15 minutes before you can get a human on the phone so you could send back an order that you made that you don't want just to put a different thing in the box to ship it back to Jeff Bezos. Oh, am I the only one that does that? Sorry, I just couldn't resist. What is that the benefit? Talking to robots? Nobody really realizes that there are no benefits because they try to tell you that AI is helping cure cancer and cure diseases. So everyone goes, oh, and look, AI is helping the paraplegic over there that we don't really care about. You know, the paraplegic that we made a paraplegic by telling him to get injected with stuff all the time or just dumping chemicals on him from the sky. We made him a paraplegic, but thankfully the AI is going to make him back to normal again. Oh, right. Of course there's no benefits, but they tell you that, well, we need to accept it in our reality. That's what they're telling you by them talking about it. Instead of saying, oh, no, we don't need it. We don't need AI. Are you kidding me? AI is taking away jobs from humans? Well, then we don't want it because we're all humans, right? Human rights. Oh, right. Well, now we need AI rights. And that's what it's about. So it says right now we have lots of ability to use AI for bad purposes, but how can we ultimately direct it toward something which is actually beneficial to humans, something that brings us together, said Brian Green, the director of technology ethics at Santa Clara University. As if anyone gives a crap what this guy has to say about ethics. Guy probably brushes his teeth with his underwear. I mean, why is the Pope speaking about AI? Well, they're saying Pope Francis himself has been at the receiving end of AI misinformation. Last year, this is unbelievable. This is why, okay? This is the reason that the Pope is speaking about AI. Last year, a picture of the Pope wearing a large white puffer coat went viral. The image was generated by AI, and it prompted conversations on deepfakes and the spread of disinformation through AI tech. In his annual message on New Year's Day this year, the Pope focused on how AI can be used for peace. So that's a key word. Again, AI, peace. Antichrist, peace. When they say there will be peace, what comes, right? So there's the Pope's purpose in this. The AI and peace and love. Don't look at the AI as wicked, right? Don't think of anything at all with artificial intelligence that could be scary or demonic or anything along those lines. It could be used for good. Love on the demons, folks. Mate with the demons. Make some Nephilim, why don't you? Says his work on the issue goes back several years when the Vatican and tech companies like Microsoft, so there you go, Vatican working with Bill Gates directly, started working together to create a set of principles known as the Rome Call for AI ethics, published in 2020. Companies and governments that sign on to the call have agreed to voluntary commitments aimed at promoting transparency and accountability in AI development. The Italian government has been seeking to elevate. See, this is what's amazing about it. If you don't see what they're trying to do here, is they're not even giving you a chance to reject AI. They're not giving you a vote on it. They're not giving you say in it. That's the point. They're just going, well, okay, AI is here. Nobody asked for it, right? Next thing you know, the government, the Vatican, all these people are talking about, well, we need to make sure it's good AI and not bad AI. Instead of going, hey, do you people think that we should have AI if it's going to cause people to lose their jobs and it could be dangerous? They could eventually turn on humans. You know, they're not giving you a say. They're just jumping right to, hey, we need to establish laws. We have AI. That's what I've been getting at. That's the point. They're not even letting you comprehend what it is. Most people out there can't comprehend what it is. So they're just like, what is this AI? They're like, oh, look, see how you got auto-corrected on your phone? That's AI. Oh, it is? Yeah, you're changing your words up. You see how you can talk into your phone and it texts for you? Oh, that's talk to text. Oh, that's AI. Oh, well, I need those things so I could do it while I drive, right? Oh, yeah. So they're going to talk about what's good about it, what's bad about it, and we're going to get regulations in place. Instead of going, whoa, here's this thing that people you don't know created called AI. We've tied it into everything with the internet. We tied it into everything with your phones. And it's here to stay. We're not even going to let you say you don't want it or not. We're just throwing it on you. And before you can realize what it is, we're going to put laws in place to protect it from you, but also protect you from it. Wink, wink. And then the only way they mean to protect you from it is if, per se, you're some type of civilian who is not a threat to the New World Order. Say you have a really high social score, okay? So in other words, the government looks at you as a good civilian because you kiss their rear end and you don't question anything. Well, somebody makes a deep fake of you, making out with somebody else or something along those lines or with your clothes off. Well, then the government will come in and protect you so that that doesn't spread around like wildfire. But of course, for people like me and you, people with bad social scores, well, they'll just make sure they create deep fakes of us to either make it seem like we did something we didn't do or to just imprison us in general. Right? So that's how this whole thing is going to work with AI laws. If you don't understand yet, that's what they're getting at. So this whole thing, right? They say what the G7 has said so far about AI. Okay, the G7 leaders have been discussing artificial intelligence and AI ethics for years now. Last year, when Japan hosted the summit, G7 nations agreed to some international principles on AI. Neither that framework nor the Rome Call are legally binding documents, but they do provide a pathway for accountability and future laws. This is about that. Future laws, accountability, end quote, binding documents. Once there's binding laws and documents, then there's no going back on AI. Then there's no going, wait, who even created AI? What is it even? We haven't given people the chance to even ask those questions. Most of us know what it is. We know of the fallen one's technology. We know what we're seeing here. Other people out there just think it's some type of app. They're like, what is that, an app? Somebody coded something in a factory somewhere and, oh, it makes things faster and easier. Right? That's their head exploding when they realize what this really is. They're not gonna give you a chance to realize the dangers. Okay? They might tell you out in the open some of the dangers, which is a part of universal law. Some of the stuff we've seen out in the open, we're like, yeah, AI is going to kill off humans. And that's part of universal law. So they're telling you this stuff and giving you a chance to stop it, but they're really not giving anybody a chance to process it, to stop it, to go out there and say, get rid of it now, because they're too distracted. They're distracted with Trump, they're distracted with Biden, they're distracted about what a woman is and what a man is and who could have a baby or who can't. All nonsense. Well, you can see what they're hell-bent on doing. Hollywood, the Pope, these are the main concerns, right? When we supposedly have wars going on, the main concern is AI. The Pope's flying in to talk about AI. This is to move along regulation to accept AI. Again, they're going to tell you that it's here to protect you from AI. It is to accept AI. Once there's laws to protect you from AI, the next thing to come is to protect AI from us, because then the propaganda will come out about how AI has feelings, how AI are people. We've seen it already. How many movies have we seen where they try to make these robots into people? How many things do we see nowadays where people are more attached to their tech than they are of humans? They've grown cold, as the Bible tells us, of others. They've grown cold of people, right? That's what's happening right now. So a year from now, after these laws are in place to protect you, wink, wink, then the laws will reverse and they'll say, there was some crazy conspiracy nuts online. They said they wanted to go beat up some of the AI like they were Johnny Fives. They made these huge EMPs and they went to go zap them. Oh, and then the stories will come out. Just put a little music behind it. Oh, robots' lives matter. AI is real. They have feelings too. And you might laugh at it and be like, no way, these people will fall for that. Oh yeah? We have people castrating their kids who are 5. We have people who are letting their kids pick their genders at 5. You don't think that they could be convinced that AI is real and has feelings and that people like us shouldn't be allowed to destroy it? People like us shouldn't be allowed to talk about it because it's hate speech, to expose what it really is. Of course it's coming. It's exactly what's coming. So that's what the framework is that they're setting up. That's the point. By pretending like, hey, we're going to try to protect you from AI, right? Hollywood, the Pope, politicians. We're going to try to protect you from it. Yeah, you want to protect us from it? First of all, tell us who's responsible. Show us the face of the person who's making all this so that we can arrest them as citizens because they're violating human rights. Oh, no, wait. We need it in our society. It's going to help cure cancer. The same cancer we're causing. Oh, really? Really? Oh, yeah, of course. Wink, wink. Right. Instead of that, they just go, oh, we want to bring AI to your attention because we want to protect you from it. So these idiots out there who are distracted with nonsense keep going, all right, they're going to put some laws in about AI. And they don't realize when laws are in about AI, that means AI is here to stay. There's no going back on it. Once people realize what it is, you can't turn back, right? People will wake up to what it is possibly. And then they'll go, oh yeah, but the laws are in place already for AI. It exists. We've established that it exists. Now it exists, period. Can't go back, can't say it doesn't exist. It exists. Look, there's binding documents, there's laws in place. And then, of course, those laws will be turned against us. So that's what the Pope cares about. That's what the G7 cares about. And it's so over most people's heads. It's incredible. They just hear this stuff. They're like, oh, okay. Oh, they're going there to talk and protect us, right? That's what their job is, to protect us. Instead of being like, why are we even debating AI? No, we don't need AI. We don't want AI. It's dangerous, right? We've heard AI could overtake humans. Yeah, we're good. Oh, it's taking humans' jobs away. Yeah, we're good. No. That's what they want, duh. Right? And then the Pope, conveniently, these are the 3 things the Vatican's concerned with, right? 4 things. Let's put the LGBT in there, right? I just did a video on the Pope, LGBT in. You can see where the Vatican is going with openly, with the, they got to be careful with women's rights and a right to choose, because they don't want to lose too much of their, they got to keep that mind control that they have over Christians out there and keep lukewarming them into these New World Order agendas. So they tippy-toe around that. But what are the other things they keep talking about? Well, they're talking about hate. They're talking about being mean to people, right? They're talking about comedians that they need to kind of alter what they say. right? Because it could hurt people's feelings. That's what the Vatican cares about, speech. And then, of course, they care about AI, right? And nobody's going, what is the connection between the Vatican, the Pope, and artificial intelligence? At the same time that the Vatican and the Pope come out, and what do they tell you? Well, any type of supernatural event that occurs, we're going to tell you if it's real or not, okay? We're going to be the benchmark. So, we have to, and they go, why are you going to do that? Well, because there's so much misinformation out there. You could trust us. We'll tell you. In other words, so when people like me tell you that it's a deception, the Vatican will come out and say people like me are conspiracy nuts, then they'll cancel our channels, etc., for questioning what they're telling you is a religious biblical event, like Project Bluebeam, right? So you got that going on. At the same time, you have the Pope going to the G7 summit, and you go, oh, is he going there to talk about peace in Ukraine? No, he's going there to talk about AI. Nobody's paying attention, ladies and gentlemen. But I am, and hopefully you guys are too. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always, and your families.